Well, g'day and welcome to the shed. Gentleman just brought this Kriesler console radio around for me to have a look at. He's restored the cabinet himself, but he wanted to see if I could get it going for him. It's similar to a radio I restored a little while ago. That was a Model 3K40. I suspect this one's slightly different. I can't quite place it, but there's something different about it. Anyway, let's have it out on the bench and see what's inside. Okay, well there's the first problem. It's got the wrong speaker in it. The owner said it didn't have a speaker and he got this one and he'd wired it in. But this radio needs a field coil speaker, and the field coil forms part of the power supply choke. So I'm going to have to work something out about that for a start. Well, here it is out of the chassis. It's got a nice little tube diagram on it here, but it doesn't anywhere say what model it is. I'm pretty much convinced that this is not a 3K40. I'll have to check, but I thought the 3K40 had a 3-gang tuning capacitor and a separate RF stage, and there's a few blanks in the chassis here where components are not included in this. The 6v6 is missing, which I knew about. I can probably borrow one from somewhere if I can't get one. These cans are not the original and they don't fit properly, so they won't work unless they're earthed, so I'll have to arrange some way to earth them. Same with this one. This one here, the owner had made up out of a steel, by the looks of it, drink can. And it more or less fits on the base there. I think it'll just need something to tighten it on there so that it earths properly. He had watched my video about the 3K40 radio, and following that had made up a light shade out of a can, and I've got to say this one works quite well. A little bit rough around the edge there. I might file that out. This globe unfortunately is blown. Other than that, it's this arrangement to operate the wave change switch. I'll need to rewire, restring that, but that's no big deal. Having a look underneath though, it has got, let's check that's in frame, it has got a lot less components in it than the one I had. The wave change switch on mine, and can you see up the top there? I don't think you can. We'll have a look at it once I get it upside down anyway. This has only got a 1-gang wave change switch on it. The one in mine had, I think, 3 gangs and all the shortwave coils mounted on the switch. This has got, the cord just ends there. The original cord's been cut off. That's fine, probably a good thing. Other than that, yeah, mine also had a large dropping resistor along the side here. And this looks like it's had a lot of work done on it. I can see new solder joints here. These caps seem to have been, I don't know what's happened with that. Someone's resoldered in the wax caps, trying to earth them or something, I don't know. But they've got to go anyway. I guess the first thing though will be to make up some kind of stand so I can turn this thing upside down on the bench. So I'll get on with that and come back. Well, there we are. I've knocked up a frame with whatever I had lying around. Hopefully that will be strong enough to hold it up. Cut a hole for the band switch. And I guess the easiest way, I better take this off, it'll fall off. Oh no, it'll stay on actually. These will flop around. These are a big chassis, and I guess the easiest way is going to be end over end. The transformer's on this end, that's the heavy end, so I'll go this way. And there we are. Gee, these really are an enormous chassis. Gee, looking at the inside of it, this will be the wiring for the dial lights. we've got a couple of paper caps there. Here's the power cord just cut off there. So we've got, this looks like one of Carl's cords actually. In fact, I'd be almost certain it is. I'm not sure where it came from. The owner said it was already there. Something's happened with this electrolytic here. Someone's wired that up to ground there. Looks like a bit of a messy job. And why they would have kept the old electrolytic in, I don't know. There's no caps been changed in here that I can see at all. There's these waxies anyway. I think they're going to be 0.1 mic waxies, just and they've been resoldered in. I don't know why they've done that, but looking at it, okay, we've got the power transformer here. What's this? I don't know what this is. Ducon condenser. It's a 5. Is that 5 mic? 5 MFD it says. It's big for a paper. And it seems to go to ground, from ground to somewhere on the output transformer. We've got some, this looks like new wiring put in here, and it's cloth covered wiring, but it's outside the laced up loom which normally lives there. I'm beginning to think this radio might have been heavily modified. I don't know. So at this end of the chassis we have this band switch, and it's only a single gang band switch. The 3K40 that I worked on before had, I think, a triple gang band switch. It had a band spread arrangement on it, and the coils were mounted on the band switch itself, the oscillator coils, I think. I'm not sure what's going on here. Just show you something over here. I'll have to move the camera. Okay, have a look in there. There's a whole bunch of wires cut off. That scares me. Look here. I'll just zoom in a little bit. The ends of all these wires just cut off. I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm getting into here, but I really don't like the look of this. Don't know what we can do with it. I have to trace it out. The other problem is I've been doing a bit of Googling, and I'll keep trying, but so far I have not found any reference to this chassis. I can find the 3K40 chassis. There's a couple of other models, but none with this valve lineup. And I think what I'm looking at here is a chassis that's been heavily modified. There's a lot of fresh solder joints on here, and they all look pretty lumpy. So I'm not sure who's been working on this. I'm beginning to think I may have bitten off more than I can chew here. But look, I'll have a go at it. First up, I'll trace the power supply circuit through and see what we've got to do to get some power to it. And then, on the assumption that maybe the person that did this knew what they were doing, it might even work. If not, I'll see what I can do. Okay, well, I've grafted in the cord, took out the fragments of the old one, and I've taken away the dial-light globe wires just so I can see what I'm doing in there. So let's have a look at what we've got. Across the primary for a start, I'll put that on 200. So going across the primary, here we go, and we've got 47.8 ohms. That's probably okay for a primary. Next we have, looks like that'll be the center tap. I'll just check it to ground. It's it looks like it's got this cap across it, 5 mic. It is an electrolytic, that is positive, and that was on here to ground, but it's broken off. No great loss. I'll have to replace it anyway if I ever get this going. So center tap to ground, and that one there, the green, will be one side of the secondary. So I'll put it on the centre tap wire for a start. Okay, so I better put it up a bit. It'll be more than 200, I would think. It might not be. So 316 centre tap to that side, and the other side will be 296. Okay, so we've got continuity through the secondary. Now these will end up almost certainly being here. We'll see 316 and 296 on the 296 on that side, 316 on that side of the rectifier tube. So secondary goes to the rectifier tube. This red one here goes back to this terminal here, I think. I'll just check. Yep, so that will be, yeah, that'll be the common side of the filament winding on the rectifier tube, or the earthy side of it. And so this one here will be the B plus, this murky black wire here. I'll just have a look at it and see where it ends up. Let's try and follow it around. Looks like it goes up here. It'll probably end up on the speaker plug. Thinking in here. Yep, so it goes to the speaker plug. Oh, hang on, there's two wires coming from this. Where's the other one go? The other one goes into here and down to here. Yeah. Okay. I don't know what that terminal is on the transformer. It doesn't have any markings next to it. But then that goes to this cap here, which then goes back to the centre tap. So this will be the first smoothing cap, the first filter cap here. And from memory, looking at the top of the chassis, it looked pretty munted, but that's not surprising. So we've got B plus here going to the filter cap, and then straight, the first filter cap, and then straight to the speaker terminal. Alright, so this is the output tube here, the 6V6. I'll just check the pinouts for a 6V6. I've got them here somewhere. Okay, on the 6V6 the plate is pin 3. So 1, 2, 3. It'll be that green wire there, I think. Yep. I'll just take this off here. So I'll put a clip on that, and there's a green wire going to the speaker there. I wonder if that's it. That'll be it. Yep, so the plate comes out there. Does that go anywhere else? It goes nowhere else as far as I can tell. It's a single green wire. The other wire coming from the speaker here, there's two terminals common here, and hooking it onto the common, where does that go? Goes on to pin 5 of the 6V6. Goes under pin 5 of the 6V6, and then disappears. Oh, okay, so then it goes onto this filter cap here. So that'll be the second half of the pi filter here, this 24 mic one. from here it goes around the chassis somewhere, it disappears. I have to see if I can trace it. There's a bright red wire. I'm not sure if it turns, if that's it down there. Yeah, that's it. It goes in here, is that it? No. There's a red wire coming out there. Does it go to here? Yep. Yep, goes to here. Okay, so that's going to be the screen, I guess, of the 6v6. Having gone through the field coil, so the field coil must go between these two terminals on the speaker plug. This one here will be the plate, so that'll go to the output transformer. Okay, so the filtered B+, B2+ ends up on these two resistors here. And let's see what we've got on the other side of them. They measure over 2000. What do we got? 16k. I don't know if that's right. The red, it's got a black tip on them, and I can't see what colour the dot is. I might have to go around the other side and have a look at that. I don't know what they're meant to be, but they're 16k now. Okay, so if I clip onto the other side of them, this chassis is so big I have to move the camera along as I work. Anyway, I've clipped onto the other side of these two resistors here, and there's these black wires. Oh, this one's just cut off. That worries me when you see wires cut off like that. Wonder if that's one of them. Don't know. There's a black wire goes to this tube here. Yeah, that'll be it. So that'll be the screen or whatever that is. Goes into a, I guess that's oscillator coil. I don't know. It goes up to here, to this coil here. Does it really? There it is there. I'm following it along. Oh, I've got the wrong terminal. Yep, goes to there. I wonder where it comes out. It might come out here. No. 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 It's got to come out somewhere. That's not promising. Gee, this whole thing looks like a very dodgy soldering job. What have we got in there? Yeah, it definitely goes to there. Great, so it goes to an open circuit coil. Gee, I'm starting to wonder where I'm going with this. Doesn't end up on the switch here anywhere, I suppose. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Nothing. Ah. Ends up on the switch down there. That's interesting. That's fed from this wire here. that? It's a green wire which comes from here. Alright, well, apart from everything else, it looks like we've got an open circuit coil here. In fact, I can see a fairly thick primary winding on this. I can't see a secondary coil. These are wound around the outside, and there is no wire. I don't know what I'm doing here. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Okay, well, I guess we're getting ahead of ourselves here. I don't want to pair it up with this smoothing cap in. It looks like it's been swelling up, and this one here, and this one here just goes from the centre tap to ground. I'll replace that. I haven't got a 5 UF, I've probably got an 8. It's only 40 volts, so you never know, I might have one. Replace them, and then I'll see what voltages we're getting, and where we go from there, if anywhere. Okay, I'll start with this one. Oh, and they both go to this centre tap wire, which is a bit of a mess. Just get some light on the subject. And got all these big blobs of soldering here. This is the centre tap, of course, so there's a few things soldered to it, but gee, look at this mess. And this, of course, was negative to the centre tap, positive to ground. Mustn't forget that. And I've also got this wire here. Which goes to the 16 UF cap, and a blue one here which I'm not sure where it goes. What a mess. I'll see if I can suck that out and tidy it up a little bit. I don't want to go overboard. I may not get anywhere with this radio, so but soldering like this really is enough to make you lose the will to live. Let's see, we've got bits coming off there. Okay. Alright, well, that's attached at least. Oh look, there's a splot of solder in there that must be from the previous person that worked on it. Bring this thing to ground is not... Oh yeah, we've got it melting. Alright. And just shrink up his heat shrink. So the cap I took out was 5 UF at 40 volts. And this one's 4.7 at 63 volts. Now we've got this one to deal with, and I'll have to get another wire onto that, but that's alright, we'll deal with that now. I'll try and put the lead directly onto the terminal. Okay, I've pulled this one out of the chassis. You can see it's swollen there. I'm not going to keep it in there for any reason, so I'm just going to tack this one over the transformer here, and that should do for it. Well, it's the next weekend. I've been at work all week, so I haven't had much of a chance to work on it, but I've been back at it, and I'll just show you what I've done. This is the 16 UF cap that I tacked in just across the transformer windings, and the second cap is here, goes straight from the B plus to ground here. So as far as replacing the speaker field coil is concerned, I've got this transformer which has a secondary winding of about 500 ohms DC, which is nowhere near the 1500 that the field coil probably would have had, and I'm assuming that because the last 3K40 I worked on had a 1500 ohm field coil. So I've put that in, and in series with that I've got a 1000 ohm resistor pack here, and this is mounted on top of the chassis because it's going to get hot in the space where the smoothing cap used to go. So I'll show you that in a minute when I turn the chassis the other way up. So I'm about to take out all the other valves, plug in the rectifier, and just see what sort of B plus we're getting. And I also might put a speaker on it and see what kind of hum levels we've got. I may have to increase these caps to reduce the hum. It will be hard to tell what the B plus is until I've got all the tubes in. There's not much good at looking at the unloaded voltage. But yeah, we'll see. So I'll turn it over and pull out the other tubes and just see if it goes bang. Okay, here we go. I've turned it the other way around, taken all the tubes out except the rectifier tube. You can see my little resistor pack just in here at the back here. Hopefully that will do the job. Now I've got the meter hooked up to B plus. It's turned on by a dim bulb, so I'll put it on dim bulb, turn it on, and we'll just see what happens. The dim bulb just lit up very briefly, and we have 430 volts. That of course is unloaded, so at least we're getting volts through it. Nothing seems to be cooking yet, and if that's alright, the next thing I'll do will probably be to find a 6V6 if I can scrounge one up from somewhere, put that in and see what we've got on the output. I'm just taking it off dim bulb and I'll see what it goes up to. It's settled down somewhat. It's dropping 170, 160, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know why that would be dropping. I'll put it back on dim bulb. We've got quite a lot of current being drawn there. There's something not right here. I'm going to turn it off. When I turned it upside down, I found that this little wax cap had emptied itself all over the inside of the cabinet, so that would be where our voltage drop came from. It was also quite hot to touch still. So I've gone ahead and changed all the wax caps. Unfortunately I lost the footage of it. Well, probably fortunately, you don't want to watch me doing that. And they were a bit of a hodgepodge. There was this one which is a Ducon, another Ducon. The one in the RF section was a Chanex. That's probably the only original one left. And it seems that what someone had done is to change the presumably leaking wax caps with other old presumably leaking wax caps. I can't imagine why anyone would do that, but that's what had been done. So anyway, I've put Carl's U-Butte capacitors in all of them, and that should work wonders. Whoever worked on this last certainly went to town on it. Look at all these wires just cut off here, and as far as I can work out, someone has neatly surgically removed the shortwave section, or at least part of it. I'm not sure if they've removed all of it or not. This coil still seems to be connected. Whether that's a shortwave coil or whether these are both for the for medium wave, I'm not really sure. But they've gone about it in a logical manner. I'm sort of hoping against hope that they might actually have known what they were doing, and that at least AM might still work. I don't know. Probably a little bit hopeful there, but we'll see how we go. Okay, so there we go. I've replaced all these caps. I haven't done a super neat job of it, but I think it's good enough in this case. And one over here. I've also replaced waxy on here. So I guess I also noticed that the shielding to these volume cables had been cut. Stuck that together again. Okay, so let's fire it up and see if we've got any kind of stable B plus on it. Okay, so this time I've put the variac on it as well, because I don't want any extraordinarily high voltages being applied. So I'll put it on. It's on dim bulb, and I'm slowly dialing the voltage up. We've now got, oh, not enough to kick in the rectifier yet. I'll put it up to 120 volts. That might be enough to do something. Yep, it looks like it is. And at 120 volts we've got 185 B plus on the meter here. Take it up to 160, 273, 274. Taking it now up to 200. We've got 350. So I don't know what that's going to come down to when it's loaded, but I'll just let it sit there for a minute. I'll just put it up a little bit. Yeah, 358. Just for reference, I'll set it at 360. I'm going to leave it there for a minute and just see if anything's cooking, or if it starts to drop again, but if anything it's increasing. Okay, well I had that running for quite a while and the voltage stabilised. It also took quite a long time to go down after I turned the set off, so I'm thinking that that's probably a sign there's very little leakage there now. So let's turn it back over and see where we go from here. Always a job to turn these things over. There we go. Sitting on my meter leads there, that's not good. Okay, we'll put that through the back. Okay, I've got all the valves back in. These shield cans weren't connected to anything, they rattle around, so I've just hooked them to earth with clip leads for the moment. This one I've managed to squash in so it makes contact. A bit preliminary anyway, I have no idea if this thing's going to do anything at all. Now I don't have a 6v6. What I do have is an EL33, which is same pin out, same heater voltage, pretty much the same setup. The only thing with this is that the heater current is nearly twice what a 6v6 draws, so I'll have to be mindful of not overloading the transformer with that. I'm only going to put it up on the variac. I'm going to keep dim bulb on it, and I'm not going to do it for long, so I think we should be okay. So pop in the EL33. I'm not really expecting miracles at this point. I'd be surprised if we get anything out of it at all. The way it's been butchered, I think we're lucky it hasn't gone up in flames already, but we'll see how we go. Oh, I might just plug the speaker in as well, just to see what happens with that, because we'll need a speaker transformer across that to put voltage on the plate of the 6v6 or the EL33. Okay, I plugged the speaker in. I've checked the speaker transformer and the voice coil for continuity, and checked that the correct pins are wired to the plug. Alright, so I'll dial that down to 0, I'll plug it in, put it on dim bulb and on, and I'll bring the voltage up to 100 roughly, so that we can get the power supply running. you need to heat up the filament of the rectifier tube. We've got something happening there. Not much. Just give it a minute. Yeah, nothing happening. I'll just dial it up to 150. Okay, so we've got some voltage happening there. The rectifier valve is rectifying. Alright, not much happening there. I'll start to increase the voltage here. That's very low for B+. Now at 200 volts I've got a faint glow from the dim bulb. It's 42 volts on the output. That's not much good. Okay, so I'll bring it up to 220. 54 volts. I had a crackle from the speaker. '78, '79, '80 volts. 100 volts. 123 volts. I'm getting a bit of a grid hum. That's about all. When I touch the that's the pickup input, so you'd expect something there. When I had the 3K40 going, I think we had about 225 on the plate. Why am I not getting any voltage here? Maybe this is... oh, that's because I've got it on ohms. Okay. Volts AC, no, DC. I've got 127 volts on the plate of the EL33, so that's not too bad. 133. Alright, what I might do is dial the voltage down a bit, go off dim bulb, because we don't have obviously any drastic shorts, and then I'll slowly bring the voltage up until we've got about 135, 150. So I've got about 230 volts on the plate. I'll just take that back down a bit. On about 225, 227, that'll do. We've got 239, 240 volts plate voltage. I wouldn't expect to hear music out of it, but I'm hearing a little bit of hum. So that's promising. Okay, let's see what we go from here. Well, miracles do happen. I just thought I'd stick an aerial on it, just on spec, turned it on and wait for it to come up, but we have music. Well, not music hopefully, or I'll get done for copyright, but at least talking.
But his previous crimes were, in my opinion, if we seek new legislation, we need to toughen up the laws. Ollie, we should never release people like Pendragon. He's never going to stop reoffending. 2 days out, he's breaching his conditions. And on the bring your dog to work day, Patrick's picked up that I did say, yes, bring your work to dog day. He says nothing wrong with what you said. It was.
Oh, there we go. So obviously a bit of fettling to do to get everything sorted out. I'll do something with those cans. I'll have to restring that little bit of wave change switch there. But happy with that. I didn't really expect it to be that easy. Sometimes you have a win, hey?
With pay later options available.
Yeah, there's the barrel. We're getting it going, and
Race number 9 on the program this.
and you won't be winning the. Also out of.
So you don't chew gum either. You don't chew gum. That was I remember you not.
Okay, so now it's working reasonably well. There's a few little jobs to do on it, and one of them is to restring this broadcast shortwave indicator, which is attached to the band switch on the side. It's been strung with electrical wire and doesn't work particularly well. It's rather a moot point really, because the shortwave band on this radio has been removed. It will never receive shortwave again, sadly, but nevertheless I may as well restring the thing, at least have it looking original. So the first thing I guess is to very carefully remove this dial glass, and I do this with some trepidation. I don't want to damage the dial glass. That would be pretty much irreplaceable, I would think. That should now lift off, and I'll put that carefully aside somewhere safe. I've got some 1mm dial string here, which the owner gave to me. Very nice of him, and I'll just thread that through here and put a little knot in the end. That will do. And to make sure that doesn't come unraveled, I'll just, there we go. So that sits on the top here, and I put a little mark where it was. That will go around there. Now I can put the dial glass back on now, but before I do, I'm going to give this diffuser panel a bit of a clean. Oh, it's all cracked up at the top there. I don't think that'll affect its performance at all, but I'll give it all a clean anyway. Okay, I've cleaned up the diffuser panel as best I can without taking it out. I remember taking it out of my 3K40 was a bit of a nightmare, so it's fine as it is. That's working. So I'll just put the glass back in now before anything happens to it. I'm not going to do anything with this top glass. It's obviously been shattered and very carefully pieced together. So I think it's probably best left well alone. Okay, I'm putting the last piece in here. There we go. And that will now move across if you should ever want to put it on shortwave and listen to silence. And there we go, the little indicator's showing in the window. I'll just zoom in, and you can see as you change the waveband it moves back. So that's all very good. So next I might just try and do some kind of basic alignment on it. I don't have any instructions for this, so it'll be a case of feel your way and see if I can bring about any improvement in its performance. This one doesn't have an RF stage like my 3K40 did, and I'm unsure whether it ever did or not. You can see here where the the additional 6U7 would sit. Whether that's been deleted or not, it does look as if this cover plate's been put in later. But the 2-gang tuning capacitor looks like it's been there forever. I don't know if this was a similar model that just didn't have the RF stage, or whether that's been deleted as well, along with all the shortwave bands. Someone's really done a lot of work on this, and I think it was probably done quite a long time ago. So I don't know, it's a bit of a mystery really, but I'll do the best I can with it. Okay, so I've got the signal generator set up at 458 kilohertz, which is the IF frequency for the 3K40. I presume this is what it is, of 457.98, but that's about as close as I'm going to get. So the next thing I'm going to do is feed this into the grid of the mixer oscillator valve. I've found that it's not useful to have the frequency counter connected while I do that, because it messes the counter up, and when I put the signal in at a fairly low level, which I want to do for this, it's not enough to trigger the frequency counter anyway. So I'm going to take this off and feed it straight into the grid of the mixer oscillator. So I'll do that now. I'll take that off. Okay, so I'll just feed that in here, just add a little bit of signal, and I'll set a reference point on the meter of about there, 100, that'll do. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is adjust the top of the IFs, and I'm going to have to tip the chassis over to adjust the others. It's also a bit noisy, but I think that that's my signal generator. Alright, so that's up quite a bit. Let's try the other one. That's about peak there. Alright, so the next thing is I'm going to have to turn it over, and I'll adjust the bottom coils, and I'll have to go backwards and forwards. Okay, well, I've managed to lay it over on its side. It's pretty much balanced. I'll just bring some signal in again, and we'll set a reference point. There we go. Alright, and the first one is this one here. I'll see if I can get anything out of that. Yeah, getting a little bit out of that. Getting a lot out of that. Might have to reset it. I'll just turn the input down a little bit. Okay. It's continuing to go up as I wind it in. It must have been way off. I'm continually having to reset the reference point. That's not going any further now. That's our peak there. Gee, we got a lot out of that. That's amazing. There we go. Alright, I'll reset our reference point. About there. And there's our adjustment for the second one is where? Where are we? We're just down there. Oh yeah, I think I can get to that. Yep, that's turning. So, no, that's going down. That's coming up. That's our peak about there. I'll redo the first one. Getting more out of it now. That's it about there. And redo this one. That's about peak there. Alright, now I'll readjust the tops of them. I have to go around the other side. Well, that is as near as peaked as I can get it, and we did get a lot out of that, so I suspect it was nowhere near correct. Okay, so there's no frequency markings on the dial here. The best I can do is, I know that 3AR was at 630, so I'll set the dial for 630, for 3AR I mean, and try and bring it in at that frequency. So first of all we want 630 on here. We've got 598 going the wrong way. 629.2, just breathe on it slightly. 630.8. There it is. Okay, so I need that to be back that way a bit. Okay, well that's about as good as I can get it. Now for a bit of a road test, and
Employer can also look at.
After all these
Increase ticket. What's Stanley?
Manic Majesty. In 3 short weeks, the doubters have come on board.
well, it's working pretty well now. Interesting radio. I can hardly imagine what led to it being butchered to the extent of removing the entire shortwave section. I don't want to be too critical of whoever did it. You don't know what circumstances led to it. It may have had some catastrophic failure that required the removal of the shortwave section. I really don't know. I can't imagine. It's also a bit of a mystery as to whether it ever was a 3K40. A 3K40 has an RF stage and a 3-gang tuner. You can see there where the extra 6U7 used to sit if it was ever on this chassis. It could be that this is a different version of the 3K40. Maybe it's a 3K39. Who knows? In any case, I've done what I can with it. It's working well on medium wave, so I'll put it back in the cabinet and give it back to its owner. Well, there it is back in its cabinet. I'll just turn it around, put the knobs on, and we'll give it a test run and see how it sounds.
Like it. As a player, I wouldn't like it because I kicked a few goals in 4 stoppages, so I didn't mind the old 4 stoppage. Yes. But, well,
yeah, but we have that sacred space outside the...
Swans by 15 points as the Saints work it out to halfback, and Seb Roth is tripped by Errol Goulden, so under a bit of pressure he gets a reprieve. Logan McDonald stands...
Well, there it is. It's back in its cabinet and working. It hasn't turned out too badly really. It still has some residual hum in the power supply. I did end up doubling the size of the capacitors. I put a 47 UF as a second one and a 24 in the first stage. But yeah, it doesn't entirely kill it, but it's pretty good. It's certainly tolerable. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's been an interesting one to say the least. I don't often see a radio that's been modified that much, but yeah, it's good to have it working again and back in use. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you next time in the shed.